Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Little Ray's Nature Center here in Ottawa. And a great day. We got a great animal out here that we want to share with you today. And we just like to hope you all had a great Canada Day yesterday, and a happy Canada Day to all our followers and friends on Facebook and everybody. And again, as we've always been going through, we'd like to thank everyone for all the support and help that we've been getting through these difficult times, and to keep Little Ray's going. And it's been a great help. We've had tons of positive from it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And the Facebook Live that we picked today is an animal that I've always liked from back home. And we used to deal with these animals, and I had some friends that were very, very close to them. And it's one of the vulture family. And here we have our turkey vulture. So these guys are one of the wider distributed vultures within the Americas, should we say. And this is Daisy. Now, Daisy is a female. She is a turkey vulture. Now, Daisy came in because she has an injured wing. She can't fly. And she never will be able to fly again. That's why we're now able to use her in shows and educational talks to teach people about these amazing creatures. Because turkey vultures play a very important role in nature. Because not only turkey vultures, but all vultures. And they're out there. These guys don't kill their own food. They live on carrion. But what they'll do is you'll find they get a pretty big wingspan. They can get up to about 1.8 meters, or up to about 72 inches in length. And they can weigh about just over 5 pounds in weight. So they get to a fairly good size, but they're not the biggest of them. But they are bigger than sort of the yellow-headed vulture or the lesser yellow-headed vulture. You can see how she jumps around. We have given her multiple branches to climb around on in her habitat here, so that she is able to get around without having to worry about flying. Now, vultures like these guys, they fly effortlessly. What they'll do is it takes a bit of time to get off the ground, so they'll take a few flaps of the wings, a couple beats of the wings to get them up in, but they fly pretty low to the ground, but they work on thermals, and those thermals help let them glide around, and they're out looking for food. But these guys have a pretty amazing sense of smell, and what they're flying around looking for is the smell of the decomposing food. It releases a gas, and they have got a sense of smell that will find that. And the interesting thing with vultures is it's not only here in the Americas, but even back in Africa, you'll often see vultures rely on each other, different species, because these guys, you can have a look, she's got a pink head and a very small, like ivory colored beak tip, but she doesn't have a massive, powerful beak that they use to rip into big carcasses and things. So what will often happen is these guys will fly low to the ground, looking, or above the tree lines, looking for any of that carrion. And what will happen is, as soon as they find that carrion, they'll fly down, whether it be a dead cow or a dead animal, but they don't have that strength to open. So what happens, though, is condors, the two species of condors, will fly and watch these guys, so that when they see them go down, they know there's food. So, because they don't have a great sense of smell like these guys do. So they rely on each other, and those condors will fly down. They'll actually open the carcass, so it actually helps this guy. So they kind of work in a mutual agreement on each other, because these guys find the food, but they can't eat it unless it's opened. And then the condors come in and they open the tough hide or the thick skins, and that allows these guys to get in and eat the food as well. Now, when they find, not only these guys have that sense of smell, but also the yellow-headed and the lesser yellow-headed vultures. But because of the size of the turkey vulture, they often keep the other ones at bay initially. And eventually, once the carcass is opened by the condors, because these guys get chased away by the condors, they then all start getting in and start eating the different types of food. Now, you'll notice that she doesn't have any feathers around her head, very small feathers, and that's because these guys will actually stick their heads up into the carcasses, and that's just prevent any blood and all that mess getting stuck and making those feathers really dirty. Now, you'll notice that her legs and her feet there, they don't have feet that allow them to actually grasp or grab prey. So they actually would rely, they use mostly, as I say, carrion. And so they can't actually grab and hold on to the food. They'll eat it when it's laying on the floor. And but you'll notice that they have white on their legs. And that white on their legs is actually their own urine. These guys will urinate on their own legs because that the uric crystals, and so as they urinate on them, it helps cool them down. And it keeps them cool during the hot days. And that's kind of why you see that those white legs. It's not because it's designer socks that they wear, it's that they actually defecate on their own legs to keep themselves cool. Now, you'll notice in the morning when these guys first wake up, they often will be sitting with their wings open, And that's because these guys at night, they do roost in groups. So they'll use dead trees that not a lot of leaves on, and they'll roost in numbers. So not just one bird or two birds. They can go 30, 40, 50 birds in a roost, and they will stay like that. But they can actually drop their body temperature to about 6 degrees at night, putting themselves into almost a hypothermic state. But early in the morning when the sun comes up, you'll often see these guys with their wings spread open, and that's used for multiple different things. It's not just used to warm themselves back up, but it also helps dry them out, because after a rainy day, this is regularly used to kind of get rid of the moisture. It also helps bake up some of the disease that may be on them, or bacteria. So it's a really interesting bird, but they're so useful for the environment because they are controlling. Farmers used to believe that these guys, and they get blamed for a lot, because we do get a black-headed vulture, and the black-headed vultures have been known to take out young calves and things like that. But the turkey vultures will fly around with those black-headed vultures. So they kind of get put into the same group, that these guys are pests and they're killing my livestock and stuff like that. So they do get the kind of raw end of the deal there. But these guys are actually helping, because farmers thought they were carrying anthrax, spreading the disease of anthrax, and what they call hog cholera. And but what actually happens is, once these guys eat animals that have those diseases, once it goes through the digestive system, it actually breaks that down and get rid of that disease. So these guys are so vital for that environment. And we do find that with human interaction, things like roads, these guys often land in the roads. I was down in Costa Rica for 7 months a couple of years ago doing some work down there, and we see a lot of these turkey vultures, and a lot of them get hit on the roads because they fly down to animals that have been hit by cars, and then as they're sitting on the road, a car will come past and run them over. They do fly into power lines, and they're also very, very susceptible to poison, secondary poisoning, because a lot of farmers go out there and they may have coyotes or foxes or animals that are eating their livestock, and what they'll do is they will put a poison carcass out there. And this happens a lot in Africa on the sheep farms and the cattle farms, because they will go out there and see this dead animal. They get so frustrated, they put a poison in there, and when these vultures come down to eat that carcass, they actually die of poisoning. But it's not these guys doing the damage. So they definitely get a raw end of the deal when they're actually out there helping us. They're beautiful birds. She's got a really good temperament. Now what these guys do is, when they breed, they'll lay up to 2 eggs at a time. They don't make much of a nest. They actually would lay their eggs in the hollow of a tree, up on a rock crevice, in maybe a cave. But they'll only go into those nesting site areas when they are nested, not during any other times of year. So what often happens with them is they'll lay those eggs. Both parents will help incubate, and both parents help actually feed the bird, the young. Now when the babies are hatched out, when they first hatch, they are vulnerable. They can't see. They rely on mom and dad to feed them. And then after mom and dad go out, get hunting, and they get food, they'll come back and they'll start to regurgitate their food. But now the regurgitation is not only to feed their young, but it's also in the defensive mechanism, because these guys, they don't have much defenses against predators out there. They do get eaten by, you saw the other day, Nelly did a talk on Max, the great horned owl. These guys do fall prey to the great horned owls. Raccoons will eat the eggs. We also have opossums that will eat the eggs. But the golden eagle, the crowned eagle, I'm getting mixed up with my countries here. The golden eagle and will take these guys out as well. So they do fall prey to a number of different predators. But what they do to defend themselves is they'll actually regurgitate their food. They spit it up. Not only is this to be a deterrent, it actually smells like crazy. And if it does get on the animals, it even causes some burning sensation, which is quite interesting. But also, when they throw that up, it also lightens their load, especially once they've eaten a massive meal. They can't battle to take off. So these guys will discard that massive weight to allow them to get away from those predators. So definitely an interesting bird. Now these guys don't really have any vocal calls other than some low hissing and grunting sounds. And that's because they don't have a part that allows them to make calls. It's called the syrinx, and that will allow them to call. But these guys don't have that ability, so they just grunt and make some hissing sounds. Their lifespan is around about 16 years is what they have seen out in the wild. In captive care, they say it's gone up to over 40 years plus, so they do live for quite a long time in human care. And as I say, Desi came to us from the ministry because these birds are protected by the Migratory Bird Act. which means that we can't own any part of them. You can't pick up feathers, you can't have eggshells, you can't have any part of this bird, you can't kill them, you can't keep them as pets at home, because they are protected. So they are pretty widely distributed. They have about a 28 million square kilometer range that these guys are found in. Some of them do migrate. Some of the birds in certain areas do stay there all year round. But they definitely a beautiful looking bird, and a bird that is really misunderstood. I've got a soft spot for Daisy. I think we all do here. We've all had a chance to work with her and feed her, and she's got a great personality. There's about 4.5 million of these birds out in the wild as well. So the population's still up there, but there are threats to these birds as well. So definitely protected by that Migratory Bird Act. So just something different we thought we'd do on and show you something of an animal that's out there doing another great cause for our environment, and something we should watch out for. If you see them on the road, don't speed up, always slow down, give them a chance to get away. They're not always as fast acting as we think they are, and sometimes they may sit there not sure what's coming towards them when you're in a car and stuff. So maybe just slow down a little bit, give them that chance to get off the road if you do see them. But they are out there helping us. Not only do they eat carrion of animals that have been killed on the road, they've been in scavenging in rock pools of animals and fish that have died within those rock pools. Down in Costa Rica, they've got a lot of palm oil plantations which they've put through there, and they've even had footage of these vultures eating some of the fruits from the palm oils. So, but they do mostly eat meaty substances. So that's something we have. Now, we do give them a variety of food here at the zoo. They do get chunks of meat. We do give them whole prey like rats or chickens. And she's allowed to go through and eat all those types of things, and we often come in and find just some skin left in the day. So they're pretty good at cleaning up the messes and stuff like that. Great animals to have around, and definitely something we should always learn more about. Don't just look at them and go, these are terrible birds, look at them, they must carry disease and spread it. They're actually helping us. So something interesting for you guys today, and one of our passions again is these guys. But thanks guys, we hope you guys have enjoyed this little talk on Desi, our turkey vulture here today. And you'll notice on her legs as well, just as Nelly goes around, she does have little anklets on. Those are because we do put jesses on them when we take them out on a glove, just to prevent her from flying away or flying off the glove and getting herself injured. We do have her on a glove from time to time, especially when she's out for educational purposes to teach people about them. So, but we don't leave the actual jesses on all the time, but the anklets do stay on when they're outside like this. And we do change them because they do defecate on their legs. We do have to periodically change those anklets as well. But we hope you guys have enjoyed it. We hope you've all had a great, as I say, Canada Day yesterday. We hope you have a great week and weekend coming up. From myself and Nelly, we'd like to thank you for your time. And again, thanks for all the support we've had, guys. You guys are all superstars out there. And we hope to see you guys in the zoo when we open. We have got tours going on today. Mike's in here doing tours. But that's something you can book with us. Our GoFundMe page is up and things like that. So please, if you want to help us out, that's something you can do. But other than that, guys, have a great day. We'll catch you tomorrow at 11:30.